I was looking for a church that was good with a children's group and a youth group. So I put it out on Facebook actually, and I have to put credit where credit's due. Kimberly Mitchell is the one who really reached out to me and said, come to FCC, you have nothing to lose. They have a great program.
My parents joined FCC when I was about 6 years old, 6 or 7 years old. And I went through the youth programs. I went through the children's program first and then the youth programs.
My family had experienced a terrible tragedy, and as a parent, at that time my older girls were very young, and it was hard to explain to them why this tragedy happened. And we were talking about God a lot in our home, which we had never talked about before, and it was so helpful to bring them to FCC, where God is talked about all the time.
And by the time I got into high school, I didn't think about it very much. By the time I got to be in my 20s, then I started questioning. I started questioning my faith and questioning the people in different parts of the world. And then by the time I got to maybe 30s and 40s, I magically found a faith community that had this kind of open idea, and I got very involved in it.
You know, after college, living in the city in my 20s, there was actually a period of 14 years where I never went to church. And really it was stepping foot into this church that got me back to church.
As I have grown older, spirituality has been more and more important to me. The illness I had was life-threatening, and it was interesting because you never know how you're going to react to that in terms of, are you going to freak out and wonder what was going to happen. And it was interesting. That was one of the most clearest moments where I was able to hand everything over to God.
They have a wealth of knowledge to share, and they're very committed to being trustworthy and dedicated to something that they buy into, and they don't easily walk away from it.
So I feel like our generation may come across as not as involved because we don't say yes to as many things, but I think we're more aware of how human limits mean that you, in order to say yes well, you have to say no to a lot of things so that your yes can really be a wholehearted one, and that you have space and time to make room for taking care of yourself and some other priorities.
They have a voice that needs to be heard. I just don't think that older generations always want to hear that voice.
It's not that they're forgotten, but they sometimes can't always participate in all the activities that the church offers. But I'm glad we have the Women's and Men's Association for them, that they can come on a Wednesday afternoon and it's an outing for them.
So I don't think it's so much that my generation doesn't want religion in their life, it's just that they want a different kind of religion than what has previously been offered to them, and they're searching those communities out.
We're not all just phone obsessed and like technology people. We like to go outside and we like doing stuff outside still, even though there's lots of technology we could use. You know, I personally graduated from college in 1992, and it was kind of a recessionary time. There weren't a lot of jobs, and so we really had to work hard to make a go of it, to get our first job, to get our first apartment, to get out on our own and get independent. So